Hello everyone, this is Meteorologist Marshall Downing, keeping you informed on this Weather Authority alert day. We still have showers and storms mostly north of 460 and off towards the east. Now, just to put it in perspective, Roanoke towards the west and Roanoke to the south are staying pretty dry. But as you get up into the highlands and especially off towards Lynchburg and parts of Charlotte, Campbell, and Appomattox counties, we've had some pretty intense rainfall right now. The main severe thunderstorm warning that we're looking at is still out in Charlotte County, and that one lasts until 8 p.m. So we're still going to be dealing with this for a while, but as it keeps marching towards the east, it'll move out of our region pretty soon, and it's losing some energy as it does. Meanwhile, the Weather Service just issued another one extending through a good portion of the highlands that'll last a little bit longer. The intensity is somewhat lighter up there, but not by a big margin. What I really want to show you right now is the rainfall that's been coming over the last few hours in particular. We'll isolate it to the last 12 hours for right now, which goes to show that there's plenty of rain that's been coming in. Most of that, again, falling off towards Lynchburg. The highest rain totals that we've got right now have been that direction, and they're going to stay out there probably for the rest of the night going into tomorrow. In that center of rainfall, more than 4 inches of rain. Lots of spots in Lynchburg proper have gotten somewhere between 2 and 3 inches. As you get further off towards the east side there, it's a little bit closer to that 4 mark. And in Lexington, 2 inches with the rainfall that's come through already. Looking a little bit further towards the northwest, Pocahontas and Greenbrier County out towards Snowshoe, more than 1.5 inches of rain. And technically in the last 12 hours, but a lot of this has come in the last 7.5. And then further towards the southwest, we'll check out in Carroll County. That spot got a little under 2 inches. So even that small storm that came through did bring a good amount of rainfall. The one that was moving towards the north of Christiansburg, off towards Roanoke, stayed at just above 1/4 inch. So really puts it in perspective how much smaller that one is than a lot of the severe thunderstorm warnings we've had further towards the north and to the east. Switching this over to look at the amount of rotation that we've got with our severe thunderstorm warnings right now. It's not exactly impressive, which is good news for us. We want that to stay low so that we don't have too much to deal with in terms of storminess. But looking at that Charlotte and Appomattox storm in particular, there's a lot of light greens out there. We were looking at it earlier on. It was a little bit brighter and it was taking up more space. Not quite the case at this point. Instead, what we're looking at, and now that severe thunderstorm warning in Greenbrier and Allegheny, Bath counties, that's shown up. There is some rotation to go along with those, but again, it's very broad. It's more these storms are moving in different directions because of how the air is coming up, rather than it is a really tight amount of rotation on a tornado. And to compare where that bright spot is in Bedford County to what we've got in terms of rainfall, most of the rain is staying a little bit further towards the east. And with these systems moving towards the east, that's good news for us too. The radar right now is showing most of that rain on the eastern side of our region. As we switch back off and put the toolbar away, there's a lot of rain coming through that portion of Bedford County. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a severe thunderstorm warning out there. But this system is going to continue to move further towards the east, which is a change from what we were looking at earlier on. From a lot of the data earlier and just how the system was moving, it was northwest to southeast. And that's generally the trend that we've got, but the worst of these storms are making their way due east, which means they make their way outside of our region a little bit sooner. Now let's go ahead and look forward through the rest of today into tomorrow. We still have a level 2 risk throughout a lot of the highlands and even northern counties in the NRV, with the main risk being wind and some flooding, and that's especially what we're seeing off towards Lynchburg. There's also a little bit of hail to go along with it, but we're not even in the worst storm risk across the country. A lot of the worst storms with this have stayed in West Virginia or even towards Ohio and Kentucky, and there's a level 3 risk up in New York and Vermont where there's already been particularly heavy rainfall causing bad flooding. So we're not that our storms are nice exactly, but we aren't getting the worst that there is through the country. Tomorrow there's a level 1 risk mostly concentrated on the eastern seaboard, but that does include Charlotte and it includes Southside and the Lynchburg zone. I think a lot of that is going to be earlier in the day, leftover pieces from this system. And then as we get into the afternoon, it's looking a lot calmer. Saturday, severe chance stays pretty far off towards our west. We're looking calmer there. And then towards Sunday, you can spend some time outside. A lot of the first part of next week is looking nicer. The wind risk is a level 2 for those same spots that we have that widespread level 2. Meanwhile, the hail is concentrated a little bit further towards the north and west. Now, most of our hail reports have come in from Lexington and Lynchburg. There are greater population centers there, so it makes sense why we would end up getting more of those reports. But also just on the radar, the hail returns have looked more impressive in those spots, growing to a larger size and falling more often. Tornado chance is pretty low. Like we've been saying, there has been pretty broad rotation in some places, but nothing to really get that tight enough to have a tornado forming. Now, from what we've seen for the last couple of hours going into Friday morning, we still have some rainfall left over, but a lot of that is going to move further off towards the southeast. As we get towards noon, there's not a lot of shower activity left. There's isolated pieces here and there as we get into the afternoon, but it does stay pretty calm. We might get an isolated downpour or two as we get towards 9-10 p.m., but definitely looking less intense than what we were looking for today. And that's holding true with the pattern that we saw looking at Thursday night going into Friday, comparing to what we were able to see earlier as well. The data that we had coming in for this evening was showing that it was going to bring quite a few storms. Friday's data has been moving further and further off of that stormy chance because we're using so much energy for today. Storm reports have been pretty widespread. A lot of those coming in as wind damage and hail. A lot of times when we have a storm system like this coming through, it'll be a whole lot of wind reports and a couple of hail reports. This is a bit different. We've had a good mix of both, and that hail's ranging from pea-size up towards nickel, up towards quarter. I think we had a report of a inch-size hail that was coming down. So it goes to show that there is quite a bit of heft out there to some of this when the energy wasn't quite looking like it would line up for it. Meanwhile, trees have been on houses, trees have been blocking the roads. Be extra careful if you're driving, especially since we have some flooding reports too. I mean, we were seeing 3-4 inches of rain in the last few hours alone. So there are some flash flood warnings out and flood advisories. Today's our best chance of storms. Friday, we still have some popping up here and there, but most of that system, as this moves its way towards the south and east, is going to get it taken care of. Saturday, it's mostly showers with some storms here and there. Temperature-wise, a lot of us are pretty close to 70 for our lows overnight. The cloud cover that we have, because we still have rainfall, helps us hold on to a lot of that heat. Blacksburg at 68 and Danville at 71. On Friday, our temperatures will warm into the 80s and even up to around 90. Roanoke's making it to 90, South Boston at 86, and Pulaski at 85. On the extended forecast, temperatures are going to be pretty consistently around 90 as we go through the end of this week and the start of the next. Friday's showers and storms are mostly early in the day. Remember, this system's going to move generally towards the south and a little bit towards the east, bring some widespread rain after midnight, but once we get towards 6-7 a.m., really starting to dry up, and then little pieces after that. Saturday, we have some more widespread showers and storms here and there. And then on Sunday, it's just a couple showers. You can find a lot of time to spend outside on Sunday, Monday, or on Tuesday. Even Wednesday and Thursday, which have more cloud cover, the showers and storms are staying rather light. Now we're going to check in with our digital expert, Allie, to see if there's any questions coming in. And if not, stay safe through the night. We'll make sure to keep you updated through all the way through tomorrow morning. Allie. All right, looks like it's no questions for right this minute. Again, if you have those, you can message us on the Weather Authority Facebook page. You can come to our website. If you have any pictures to send in, be sure to go to pin it on our WSLS.com website and send those. Be sure to stay careful and safe if you are taking any of those pictures. But with how many spots are seeing the hail and flooding, especially towards Lynchburg, I bet there's a lot of cool pictures to be had right now. For the rest of this evening, we'll be here. Meteorologist Marshall Downing. Chris Michaels will be in tomorrow morning to give us a recap on how the storms are playing out. We'll make sure to keep you updated as we go through the end of this week on any more storms headed our way.